My name is Alysha Lewis Coleman. I am a resident at 10 Stanton Street, aka Thelma Burdick Apartments. Come in contact with Cooper Square Committee because of tenant organizing. Been a resident at 10 Stanton Street for maybe 28 years. Moved there in '85. My mom was a homesteader, and she actually had an accident and she fell through the floor, and that's how we ended up in Thelma Burdick. So I came to know Cooper Square through organizing, me being involved on the tenant association.
And you still live in Thelma Burdick?
Yes, I still live.
I remember I met you before and you told me about when you first moved in. I was wondering if you could just say a few words about Thelma Burdick building.
Wow. When we first moved in Thelma Burdick, I thought it was paradise. It was like a dream come true because we lived in tenements on 13th Street and in and out of various landlords that were really slumlords. And my mom was, like I said, she was a homesteader, so she was working for an apartment she had to gut it. She had to put the walls up. She had to put the floors down. And she did it with a group of other residents that were in the same situation. They thought they would be homeowners. They took over the buildings, and this was like through Project Appleseed that Jimmy Carter started. And at that time, it was a really great thing. So when we moved into Thelma Burdick, it was kind of like my mom had the thought that our apartments after 20 years, we would be homeowners. We thought that we would become an MHA as well. And that didn't happen for us. But, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of those things as a kid coming up. We just knew that we had a really big backyard and really nice equipment. And, we had great neighbors. We had garden spaces. We could garden fruits and vegetables if we wanted to grow stuff in the backyard. And we had just really good connections with our neighbors. And, pretty much the landlord was okay, at the time. But Cooper Square was actually in the building. They were actually there on site. They had a social worker on site to help anyone that was in need of whatever, if they needed connection with other community organizations, or if there was a need for, if you had a need for your family, you could go and talk to the social worker that was on site, provided by Cooper Square. And they had an office in the building, in the first floor. So
that was Jasmine Garcia.
Yes. She's wonderful. And and we miss her. But yes, so.
What year was this?
This was in '85. And we had that from, I think we had, Cooper Square had an office there for maybe 10 years, right? Roughly, right, Val?
Something like that.
Something, maybe a little less, but it was. I know they were there for quite a while, and they helped quite a few of the residents there. A lot of our neighbors are Asian and Pacific Islanders, and then we have a lot of Hispanic neighbors also. So I'm sure that a lot of people had to take advantage of the services because many of them did not speak English, and they were, relatively new to that type of setting. So it's a Section 8 based project. If I didn't mention that, it's one of those type of situations where it's 30% of the household income, and that's how they budget. They have to budget around 30% of the household's income in order to come up with the rent amount.